Black Lives Matter at first was it was like, something that people were saying, but then it also kind of turned into its own movement. And I think it kind of got a bad rep to a lot of people because of, people. First of all, the visceral reaction from a lot of people is Black Lives Matter. Why are you singling out black people? My life matters too, doesn't it? And so you're like, you think that by saying Black Lives Matter, you're also saying that these other lives don't matter. But it's like, no, Black Lives Matter full stop. Like, yes, they do. And I think everyone can agree with that. And I think originally when people first started hearing that, they had a visceral reaction to it because it is uncomfortable.
Our visceral reaction should be that we actually have to make signs and say that.
Yeah.
We should be appalled. This is similar to...
Well, I thought it was stupid to say because I agree.
The civil rights movement, when black men would hold signs that say, I am a man. This is shameful that in our country, not that long ago, a black man had to hold a sign that said, I am a man, because not everyone thought that was true and they were not being treated like men. And so for us to have to hold signs now, 40 years later, 50 years later, that say Black Lives Matter, it is a shame. It is appalling that we are still having to state the most obvious thing in the world.
And I think most people listening would agree.
Yes, like, why do we have to do this? It is because we are not committed to change. I want to sit here and I want to make a judgment about Black Lives Matter. I want to have an opinion about Black Lives Matter. I want to post about it. I want to not post about it. I want to talk about it. I want to pick it to death. But at the end of the day, I've done nothing to advance life for black people. I have done nothing to better the life for black people. I've done nothing to equal the playing field. I have done nothing to dismantle white supremacy. I have not called anybody. I have not gone to visit my mayor. I have not written any letters. I have not voted. This is what gets me. I am sorry. I understand like all the things. Oh, I'm just not going to vote. Da, 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 da.
I'm not going to vote. It just doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, or these are two evils that are lesser than. When people ask right now, what's one thing I can do? You give me one thing I can do. What's one thing? Guess what? You're already going to probably do this anyway. Maybe you're not. But this is incredibly easy because you can literally mail it the stink in. But like, if you're going to be a one-issue voter this year and you're upset by what's happening in our country, maybe this is your one issue. And why don't you look up people on both sides of the aisle? This is actually, you'll find
it's pretty bipartisan.
Surprisingly, it has been the Democratic DAs and the Democratic police chiefs who, in the Breonna Taylor case, who have been making zero movement. It has actually been in Georgia, the Republican DA, who is actually bringing charges for Ahmaud Arbery. So I'm not talking politics right now.
And
I'm saying
this is
look into it. Who are the candidates, the DAs, the police chiefs? These are all electable officials. Look into who wants equal rights, who wants justice, who has good policy to help black lives. If you're going to be a one-issue voter this year, pick that one. And even if you're appalled by certain things about the people, guess what? We've been doing that a really long time.
And I was gonna say, like, one of the interesting things too about being bipartisan is a lot of these things that we're campaigning and protesting about are literally constitutional rights. And I mean, a lot of and especially right now with the protesters, you're seeing so many videos of police using their force on peaceful protesters, shooting tear gas into crowds, beating people up. And these are literally peaceful people, sometimes even with their hands up, sometimes with their hands on their head.
Hands in their air saying, kneeling. Don't shoot, literally, knees, hands in the air.
And that should be a huge sign that, wow, our rights are being violated. People all the time talk about freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms. That's typically a lot of people on the right. A lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives are very, we always think of like a gun-toting conservative, whatever. Right now, people's right to protest and right to free speech is being taken away. Literally, like, I mean, I don't know how else to call it. This we're seeing like martial law being
we're currently living in a police state, and it's very close to becoming a military state. And at that point, we are on the road to a fascist dictatorship, and it is terrifying.
If we saw what was happening as an American citizen, if I saw in any country, the entire country protesting, but then its leader bringing in its own military against its own people, I would say,
That's a fascist
look
dictatorship.
how un-American that is. So I
Totally.
think no matter how you vote or where you lean, you have to kind of come to that and say, hey, like, that's
You have to draw a line.
That's hypocrisy.
And I think
And it's, I mean, man, I really do see a lot of the, as a friend of mine, a really amazing person was, who I would never unfriend because they're that amazing, was writing about, the rioters and how they are taking away the message of the protesters. I don't disagree with that. I actually agree with that.
I think the
But
looters
look
and the anarchists
but
and
here's the thing,
those
and-
people are the ones that are really messing it up.
Yeah, but here's the thing. One, who's coming dressed for the riot? Not the protesters.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I'm an equal opportunist. If you are going to stand there and say, it's unacceptable that this Target has been burned down and looted, I need you to, in the same breath, say, but also it was really wrong for the KKK under the protection of the government to burn black businesses, black churches, black homes, and black lives for a very long time. I need you to say them both in the same sentence. If we're going to talk about destruction of businesses, let's talk about destruction of businesses historically, and let's be equal in our, if we're going to call that out, let's also call this out. Let's be equal opportunists here.
But I think a lot of people will say, like, yeah, well, I didn't own slaves. I'm not a member of the KKK. We don't live in that time anymore. That time is past. That's in the past. We're talking about right now. This is not right. Blah, 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 blah. What do you, because again, that's not untrue. I didn't own slaves, but but black people are still dealing with that. And it's not all black people. Some black people immigrated since then. Some black people are not descendants of slaves, but they are still dealing with the police brutality. They're still dealing with the social stigmas, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I always try to make things personal.
No, I think that's good.
So personally for me, if let's say you're married to someone who's been cheated on a lot in their past, or you're dating someone who's been cheated on a lot in their past,
A lot of trust issues.
are you just like catering to them? Hey, this is 2020. It's me we're in a relationship with.
I've never cheated on you.
I've never cheated. I don't have to call you. No, you love this person and you understand the hurt that they've come from. So you actually adjust yourself. You actually pivot. You actually allow that love to change, not just how you feel on the inside, but your actions on the outside. And if all I did was say, I love you on the inside. You just got to trust me. No, I have to actually
Modify your behavior.
I actually
change your
have
actions.
to do something to communicate to you that I hear you, that I understand where you're coming from, and I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make your world more loving.
Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. If you want to watch more clips, we got 2 more right over here.